Talking to Jim Barton, he's running for the Board of Education, and the one thing I'm always impressed about with respect to Jim, he has a very folksy way of getting across some very, very interesting information. And the other thing is, you see that I'm out here in the field with Jim because Jim is always working. The thing I'm really impressed about Jim, however, is that he not only wants to be on the Board of Education, but he's been working with the kids for a very, very long time. And we're standing out here, and his field is in back of us, and these kids, by word of mouth, according to Jim, just come over here, and they want to be here, they want to get out of the city and see a little bit of the countryside. And Jim, you can tell me a little bit about your background and that of your wife. Your wife is a piano teacher.
Yeah,
and you got kids over here all the time. And that's one of the things. You really are a good-hearted man that truly wants to help these kids. You talk a little bit about what's been happening out here in your field. You have kids coming out here playing the piano and also coming out working the fields and baking pies and just about everything else.
A little bit of everything. We've been doing this since about 1970, which makes it a good 35 years or so, 37 by now. And just so you understand a little bit about me, I was born in northern Maine, Holton, Maine as a matter of fact, Aroostook County.
Aroostook County. My mother came from Aroostook County.
Did she?
Yes.
Bless
Love
her
it
heart.
Up there. I spent a lot of time up there as a kid.
It's
beautiful up there.
Oh, gorgeous.
What are you doing down here?
Well, we did not have the welfare system that people live on now. We got burned out in 1946. It was Mom and Dad, the 4 kids, and we got out with, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and we had, it was November, I believe, at the time, because Ma was still teaching. She was teaching school. Dad came home from a meeting for the farmers, and the house, he could smell smoke. He went all over the place. Chimney wasn't hot. Of course, we burned wood up there. Chimney wasn't hot or anything like that. Went upstairs and lifted.
So you came down here right after that. Is that what you did?
No. Dad. That was 46. We didn't come down here till 53. We moved back. That was in Carmel, which is down near Bangor, 120 miles south of Holton. Okay, we moved back to Holton, and we lived in a house. That's 6 of us, plus Aunt Helen was with us. So that's 7 kids and 1 puppy dog.
Well, okay, so you've had a lot of experience with the big families, and I'm probably that's one of the reasons you love to have these children around here. Let's talk a little bit now about what's happening down here.
Okay, well, I've got a college education. My wife has a master's degree. I've gone through...
You're also a bush pilot, are you not?
I've got a commercial license, instrument rating, multi-engine, seaplane, all the mechanical ratings that you can possibly get. If you totaled out a plane, I'm authorized to rebuild it. I've got that capability from Uncle Sam. My wife has a master's degree. She's taught school for pretty near 15 years. She taught 7 years right here at Natchog downtown. She also taught in Tennessee. She also taught out in Illinois when we lived out there.
So that's one of the reasons that you really want to get out here, and you want to get on the Board of Education and see what you can do for these kids.
Yeah.
Now, I'm hearing from you, again, that these kids just want to be out here in the country, and by word of mouth they say, let's go out to Jim's.
Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. B, we're called, for the most part, to most everybody. And over the last, I would dare say there's been thousands of kids out here. At one time, we were taking pretty near 150 kids every week up to Nickerson's campground. We fed them all, and they got to swim, they got to play pool, they got to play football, and then we would have about an hour of somebody either mime work or just spiritual and moral guiding principles presented to them, and then we had people take them home. Now, it got to be where a lot of folks, gas prices got high, and a lot of folks sold off their big vans. So in one van, it's hard to put 150 kids. So we kind of got stuck.
Well, what you're doing basically then, you've also told me that you got the kids out here baking pies. I know you. When we went in the house, I saw your wife was in there teaching a young fella how to play the piano, and that's a regular thing. And you got
There's
the
about
kids,
80 of those every week.
And you got kids that come out here and they work in the fields with you, and they take home produce.
They do.
And they work and they're out there baking pies. And sometimes you told me you also help these kids with their homework when they come out here.
We do homework. We've had kids. We had one young man who needed a place to stay. He lived here for 6 years while he finished high school.
Well, also I understand.
And went to college.
I've talked to Andrew. I don't think he's down there at the moment, but he was working in Windham Heights. And he told me personally, you recall I did the Milton Friedman Foundation thing earlier this week, and he said that Jim Barton has just been a wonderful man out here. He worked for these kids. He's got a great deal of interest in what's happening with these children, and he wants to see that they get ahead, get a good job, get a good education, and that they get a good moral basis upon which to go out here and function in this society. And my hat's off to you, and I think that you're just a good-hearted man, and your wife is, in doing this sort of thing. And I understand you also have them out there baking pies at a point.
Well, the thing is, we don't operate on a charity system. In other words, I believe firmly, if you don't work, you don't eat. And so a lot of these kids haven't been brought up to work. But when they need money to go to do anything, what we do is say, okay, you become a salesman. You go out and sell pies, apple pies, pumpkin pies. We used to make blueberries, but this year we didn't get enough blueberries, so it's apple and pumpkin right now. And they go out as salesmen, and they go around and they say, okay, here are the names, and here's the money for 25 or 30 pies, whatever it happens to be. Then they come here, my wife shows them how to make the crust, how to, cut the apples, what to mix in as far as cinnamon and stuff like this. They mix it all together, make the crust, put them together, cook them, and then they deliver them. Okay, by doing that, now that money is put into a savings account specifically for the kids. And then when they need to go to, say, to a winter camp for a weekend or something like this, they draw out of that. So sometimes one kid will put in, he'll do a whole lot more work than another one, even because the other one doesn't have time maybe or something. So they get this idea of sharing back and forth and working for each other and helping each other, and the unity you get out of that is amazing. And as far as I'm concerned, there isn't a kid downtown who isn't capable, fully capable, of producing and earning his own living and doing an excellent job at it. He just needs a little bit of assistance.
Well, here's another thing, and I know that you've been trying to provide yourself as a moral example for these children. And the main thing is that you've told me that a couple of young fellas, and you haven't had a chance, or gals, I don't know whether it's fellas or gals, who came up to you very recently, and you haven't had a chance to verify this yet, but you've had more than one person come up and say, look, they're showing us in sex education class videos that shows everything, and they're also showing us how to use condoms, etc., etc. And we're talking about, you said either the 5th or the 6th grade.
Somewhere right in that.
And incidentally, you're also indicating that the parents apparently don't know about this.
If they know about it, they're not telling us. And we talked to some of those parents, and we didn't bring up the subject because I felt if the school is hiding it, let the school be responsible for telling. I don't want to be the man that gets, the parents mad. I'd rather have the school system get them mad.
However, let me just go back for a moment.
My stomach is still churning over what they told me. And so I don't dare go ask questions because I find that if I did, I might get too excited.
Well, here.